right, you're on in 3, 2, you're on.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of the Litchfield County Sports Program. I'm your host, Tim Gaffney here, and once again, we're going to do sports, and we're going to do what's going on in our community with a little political talk. But I got to start with sports first, just because it's sports, right? So, Torrington football sitting right now at 2-1. They're going to head down to Ansonia, who is 1-2, and I said that. I'll say that again for the people way in the back. 1-2 for Ansonia. That's how many games that you lose in like a decade at some point. So Torrington goes down there tomorrow night. It's almost a poke the bear situation, right? Where they might be very angry. They're opening up their brand new multi-million-dollar facility. I'm going to go down with Coach Torino tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. You never know with Torrington. Aiden Hansen has 609 yards on 75 carries in 3 games. Hello. That's a award-winning situation for him. So I wouldn't be shocked. If Torrington wins, I hope they let us out of Ansonia. I'm thinking everybody will be okay, right? They haven't lost 3 games, I don't think, in my lifetime. So we'll see. I like the fact that I don't anticipate it being a blowout, but with Ansonia, you never know. So as we did a couple of weeks ago, we are become the place where you can come to find out about people that are going to be leading our city or trying to lead our city, over the next couple of years. So this day, we are going to interview the Republican candidate for the mayor of Torrington, and it's Molly Spino. Hi, Molly.
Hi.
How are you?
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Important job.
Yes, it is.
Hello. I mean, does the gravity of this job you've been around a while, you've been in city council, you've been on board of education, You're pretty close with Eleanor Carbone, our current mayor. Talk to me, what does it feel like?
Well, it's exciting. We're at, 33 days, I think, now before the election.
Yep.
So this is a home stretch. It's been an interesting past 6 months since I announced, getting out there, meeting people, meeting different department leaders and sitting with different boards throughout the city. It's been quite the experience, and I've enjoyed it.
What made you decide?
So over the past decade, I've been involved, as you know, with different boards and committees throughout the city. I served on the Board of Education, Board of Public Safety, Economic Development Commission, City Council, the ARPA Ad Hoc Committee. So I've really, gotten my feet wet throughout the past decade, trying different boards and learning a lot of things. So when the opportunity arose that there's an open seat, and this was my chance. If I'm going to run for mayor, this is the time I'm going to do it. So I decided, all right, let's do it. I talked to my husband, I talked to my kids, my parents, his parents, making sure that this is going to be the right decision for us. Right. And we all agreed this is the time, so let's do it.
There we go. So for the 4 people out there that don't know you, introduce who is part of your family. Talk about Big Nick is here in studio.
Yeah.
Nick is you guys are at my daughter's wedding, so we've known you guys for a minute. But talk about where you're from, where you grew up, where you went to school, all that.
Yeah. So born and raised here in Torrington, graduated Torrington High School, class of 2000. Immediately after high school, about 2 weeks, I left for boot camp and I joined the Marine Corps. I served in the Marine Corps as a motor vehicle operator. I was stationed in Camp Lejeune.
Okay.
I was in during 9/11 and Operation Enduring Freedom. And then after I got out, I came back home to Torrington. Tried a couple different odd jobs, did some waitressing. My mom owned Hannah's Bakery in Torrington for over 20 years.
Oh,
so I spent many, many years working for her before
Sure.
and after high
Yep.
school. And then went into a little bit of waitressing, and then went to college, got my degree in legal studies from Post University. I met my husband. We got married in 2013.
Okay.
So we've been married for quite a while now.
Pop's 12 years. Come on. We just went 30 over here.
It feels like a long time.
Nothing personal, Nick.
No. And he's here with me, which is great. He's always been a big supporter of mine.
Yes.
We have 3 kids together. Our oldest, his son, my stepson, Owen, he'll be 26 on Saturday, which is wild to me.
Where'd that go, right?
I know, right? My oldest, he's almost 19, and my daughter is 16, and she is a junior at Torrington High School.
Okay. She in theater still?
She is in theater.
Is she doing the new
Yes, she is.
Bombipity
Yes,
of
she
errors?
is.
I went yesterday
Did you?
to kind of check it. This is going to be wild, everybody, when go to the school and I'll do some videotaping and talking to kids and the rest of it, but it's based on the Comedy of Errors from Shakespeare, but it's a 90s rap version.
Right.
What does your daughter think of that?
Oh, she's really excited. She's really excited.
Yeah, this is your
they're
guys'
just
era,
getting-
really,
yeah,
right?
it really is. And she's just getting started now. I think this is her second week of rehearsals.
Okay.
But so far she's loving it.
I always loved the process. You know, you and I and Nick, we saw each other after one of the first plays that was done at that. We can't call it the Little Theater anymore because it's too big. I got in trouble for calling it Madison Square Garden because it looks like Madison Square Garden to the outside to me. It might be the Big Egg, I don't know what it is, but it is just amazing.
Right.
I mean, that is just, and to your kids and the rest of it who are in there, it's got to be so cool. Microphones work, lighting is good, plenty of room on that stage, 150, people can fit on there. Now, you graduated with Kimmy, right?
Kimmy was a couple years younger than me. Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm older and they're older, so I'm like, yeah, you all graduated.
Kind of the
I think
same.
Nina graduated in 2000 or 99 to 2000.
Nina
and then
graduated with me.
Nina graduated,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And then Kimmy was
2003. She
03.
graduated with my sister. Yeah.
Ah, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And you guys stayed friends for
We did.
the longest time. You're still in contact now. And we went through a COVID wedding together.
We did.
We survived it all. It's all good. We did a lot of great things. So, so many challenges just in the world in general and in any city, right? And what I want people to know more about you is that while you've been in the position, not the position mayoral, but you've been close to the top, what is your vision for what you want Torrington to look like going forward?
Sure. Well, a big thing that, I see and I think everybody sees is we want more in Torrington. We want more for people to do. We want more for families to do, for reasons for families to stay in Torrington and grow and invest here. Entertainment, things for people to do. More businesses and, continuing to work with our small businesses. They have a great downtown community. They all work together. We have to continue to work with them and, incentivize other people to come to Torrington, invest here. We have a beautiful city. A lot of the investors I've spoken to over the past 6-8 months at different events, they drive into Torrington, they've never been here before, they say, this is a beautiful city. Your downtown is fantastic. They want to invest here. They love it. So that perspective from an outsider looking in, is amazing to me. So if we can get those people to come back, like you came here, you looked, you saw some of these properties, these vacant properties, these brownfield properties that we've remediated. Now come back and let's sit down at the table and let's talk and let's get some businesses here and let's get some housing here, because housing is a big thing.
Sure. Now, what gets it over the finish line for those people to say yes?
Ooh.
Well, it's your sales job, right?
It's a sales
Right?
job, of course it is.
I mean,
We have to sit down and see what is it that they need. How do we work with them? We have a really strong economic development commission and a really strong economic development director, William Wallach. I don't know if you met him yet. Who's done a great job working with the businesses in Torrington and working on getting grants from the state to help with the funding that we need to.
okay. And because to me, that is so much of it is that whoever ends up leading this city needs to be the biggest cheerleader.
Absolutely.
Like, I know you got to watch your finances and the rest of it, but have good people to do that, please.
Yes.
Just be out,
Yes.
be out, be
Well,
out.
the mayor
be
is
out.
only as good as the people that are
You
working
surround.
for her.
Right.
The people in City Hall, we have a fantastic finance department. For years we were short-staffed. We finally were able to get that office filled. Economic development, fantastic. Public Works, Ray Drew is a fantastic guy. He's done amazing things for Torrington. He's retiring, so those are gonna be some big shoes to fill. We gotta find a new public works director. So it takes it takes everybody. It can't
Right.
just be. It's not just the mayor. There's a whole team of people to make this work.
And the mayor and other people will be the ones that probably have to go out and sell at different events and the rest of it
Yeah.
to these bigger. I had done a survey, recently from like 8 to 10 friends. What do you want to see in Torrington?
Yeah.
Right. So my good friends John and Helen Jocks, who had kids go through the high school and living next door to us the whole time, was It was a fish place and a chicken place. Right. Chick-fil-A got a lot of votes. I'm not really sure why. I guess it's
I've
pretty
heard that
popular.
too, yeah.
All right, it's all good, right? But a lot of different things, and friends had talked about how, like, we're huge Trader Joe's fans.
Yes.
Right. we'll drive to West Hartford, doesn't matter, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll drive to different places. Businesses like that, what do they need?
Well, those are the anchors. Those are the businesses we want to try to get. And Trader Joe's is a big name that's been thrown around. We want to look at a Trader Joe's, maybe a Stu Leonard's, maybe a Costco, because those are the businesses that we will drive out of town to go to.
Sure,
we will drive
do.
to New Britain
Yep.
to go to Costco. We will drive to West Hartford to go to Trader Joe's. So people will drive to Torrington because we have those businesses. You have that anchor, build around it.
Right. Have you already, or during the time that you've been around, talk to people in that area to see what their hesitation might be? I mean, it's easier for people to say, "Hey, bring Trader Joe's here." Like Trader Joe's just got a pile of money. There's a lot of like things that have to be in place,
Sure.
right? But maybe like even where people talk about the Stop and Shop that closed on the west side and the rest of it.
We have to get another grocery store down on that side of town.
Thank you,
We have to.
thank you. I'm
Yes.
tired of
I
driving
know,
all
you
over
live
town,
over
right?
there
We're
too.
up there by the hospital. We're like, I got to go get milk. I'll be back in a half hour.
Yeah, exactly.
But is it, because I think sometimes what, maybe it's my perception, but a lot of times is it that you have to do that balance between the big ones on what's best for them and what's best for the city, and from the standpoint of taxes, right? Because right now we're a little upside down, right? We're the revaluation,
Right.
which is a state mandated thing. It happens.
Yep.
Hey, my house went up like 2 or 3 times, and all I did was mow the lawn. Imagine if I had trimmed. Would have been even better,
Right.
But I'm like, wait, I didn't do anything. And
Right.
so we're a little out of balance with that. So we need the big anchors
Right.
to pay. Now, is the problem sometimes that the big anchors are looking for too much free?
It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I do know, talking to some of the developers, some of the reasons why they haven't invested in Torrington was the highway access. So, they want to go somewhere where there's an 84 or 91. We have Route 8, which is great, but they like those big highways. So we have to find other reasons, why do you want to invest here? We just lowered our mill rate. We're down to a 38 from almost a 48, 49 before.
Yep.
So now that we're at 38, and next year looking at another lower mill rate, that incentivizes the businesses. That will help bring them here.
Okay, so everybody in the world in Torrington is a very limited space to talk about the taxes, right?
Yes, of
And for
course.
me, it's never been all about the taxes, right?
Right.
It is part of it, but
course.
as much as the taxes are part of it, it is like you had said, having entertainment from like year 1 to 99. Like Kids Play Museum is astounding. We've all
Yes.
taken our kids there, grandkids. It's amazing, right? The Warner is terrific. So we need to have different entertainment, value for everybody to, to go to. And we were talking when we walked in, the fact that there's no newspapers for the most part, right? In 1999, when I started to freelance for the Register, it was probably 25,000 papers a day. Every mailbox had 1 or 2 of those little boxes, right?
There used to be AM, PM papers.
Exactly, right? If you didn't know what happened, can you imagine? People now be like, what, morning and afternoon?
I
Yeah,
know.
stuff happened during the day. You might want to know about it. The
Right,
Winstead Journal
right.
or something, right? So the fact that there isn't, a lot of information out there, so much of what happens is on social media.
Yes.
Because if it happened on Facebook, it must be true.
Well, of course.
And we'll go to that in a minute, but
Yeah.
getting information out to people, and again, it's why I was thinking of doing this, because I want to try to figure out who I want to lead the next, decade or so
Sure.
of this city, because I'm 67. I intend on staying here the rest of my life and the rest of it, but I want to continue to try to see things get better for everybody that is here. When you talk to the older folks, and this has been since the beginning of time, hey, back in my day, stop it. Right,
Yeah.
back in the day, and every generation, the previous generation says, "Oh, these kids are lazy. They don't connect." They said that about you. They
Yeah.
said that about me.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's never true.
Right.
Right? There was a certain popular people that are maybe, but most of us are just trying to do the right thing every
course.
day. So, from your standpoint, how do you continue to get the message out, to people with such limited access to, like I said, you have one story so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you get it out there?
Social media has been big. Knocking on doors, that's always huge. We have a very strong slate, and we've all been out there knocking doors, and the amount of people that we've reached and talked to is huge. Like normally, you'd be afraid to knock doors. You don't know who's going to be on the other side, right? You don't know what they're going to say to you. But our response has all been positive. Everybody, almost every door that we've gone to where people answered, they want to talk, they have questions. And, we talk to them, they tell their friend, they tell their neighbor, and that's, word of mouth is a big thing.
Yeah.
It does help.
We've got over, I think, 24,000 registered voters in Torrington,
Mhm.
somewhere around there.
Mhm.
So I kind of divided up between like the three. It's an amazing the amount of unaffiliated and independents
Yes.
that we have.
Yes.
So you need there because I think it's only fairly close, Republican more than Democratic.
Yes.
The biggest block seems to be unaffiliated or independent.
Yep.
How do you get to them? Because they're not coming to your caucuses. They're not coming to.
Yeah.
How do you? That's the door.
We go to those doors. We
Okay.
go to every door. I don't think Republican, Democrat, unaffiliated, it doesn't matter. We knock on their door.
And if I vote for you, it's not because you're a Republican. If I vote for you, I think it's because you're the best candidate.
Exactly.
And I think, especially today, considering how polarized everything is, I mean, one of the things I want to see out of our next leader is knock it off.
Mhm.
I don't care. I did notice on your signs,
Mhm.
you guys are a little bit more discreet on it, and I think that's smart,
Mhm.
right? Is that we don't need to always see the elephant, and then this. It's not because I think there's so much here.
Right.
Most of us are still here,
Yes.
right?
And
So-
this is where we need to be, and this is my feeling on politics. I'm not a politician, so to say. You know, I'm doing this because I love Torrington. I care about my community. I care about the future of the community. I care about my children's future
Mhm.
and wanting them to stay here in Torrington and buy a house and have a family and grow old here. This is what we want, right?
Right.
Nobody wants their kids to move across the country. So in order to do that, we have to do something to make them stay.
Right.
And forgot where I was going when I started thinking about my kids.
Well, you know what happens with kids? We're just like, yeah. But you are right. We want them to
Yeah.
stay,
Yes.
in the area and
Yeah.
reinvest and and the rest. And we were talking about like the adversity that is out there because there seems to be so much
So much of it.
anger,
Yeah.
right?
So to me, it's important. I have built very strong bipartisan relationships through every board I've sat on, whether it was the Board of Education, the City Council, Board of Public Safety. I've worked across party lines on each, and I continue to.
Mhm.
I think that's really important. It's important to me that I'm not out there, rallying for one side other than the other,
Right.
because you're going to be the mayor of the city.
The whole
you
city.
need the whole city. You need to represent everybody, whether you're Republican, Democrat, unaffiliated. So to pick sides, so to say, is not something that I would do. I am very much willing to work with both parties.
And I just think that it's where all the stalemates have come from because everybody digs their heels in.
Yeah.
And it's the other great thing I think about leaders is that giving credit to somebody else shows that you're a good leader, right? If it was the other guy's idea, okay,
Right.
you still end up getting credit for it in the end because you're the top figure, right? So
to me,
don't.
it doesn't matter who does what, and taking
Right.
credit doesn't matter at all.
Too often
It's-
it does, right? But it
Too
should.
often, but it shouldn't. It's about doing what's right and getting things done.
Yep. And I think that's when it comes to what I hear from like the small businesses that that I deal with and that I work with is that I think them wanting that unified thing, not take anything after a national model,
Mhm.
but just make Torrington.
Right.
Just make ourselves unique for what we are.
Right. And our focus should be on Torrington.
Right.
And only Torrington.
Right.
Yep.
Hey, can't do anything.
We
Can't
have
borrow
no-
from
I
Goshen.
can't
literally.
control the federal level. I
Right.
have very little control over the state level other than working with our legislators.
Right.
Which we'll get into too. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's about Torrington. It's
Right.
about Torrington.
And we as we had go one magazine over there, but the different magazines that we do that accentuate what's going right in the city, all the magazines I've done for the high school, because I think when we first came out with Litchfield County Sports Magazine in 2017, I had pitched it to the school improvement committee. Were you on that
Yes, I
at
was.
the time?
Yes, I was.
People like that. You're probably, who's this nutty guy? I know him from his daughter, but I don't know what he's talking
Yeah.
about, like I did either. But what I thought of is that we need to accentuate what's going right better than we do.
Exactly.
And with no print. And I am so proud of those kids, right?
Yeah.
Because when I asked, the one we do for Torrington High School is named YTHS.
Yeah.
Because we kept losing too many kids from the middle school to the high school for the wrong reason.
Right.
Not because they wanted to go to Northwestern, great school, this and that. They were afraid.
Right.
And I'm like, we are so country bumpkin.
Right.
I'm from upstate New York, which
Yeah.
is not even a bad part of upstate New York, but you want to see some stuff, I take you.
Yeah.
Right? But Torrington, I walk the hallways of the old school and the new school. I can't find the kids. They're in class. Are there knuckleheads? Of course. Good friend Richie Elliott. There's probably like 30 of them out of 1,000
Yeah.
that keep them busy every day.
I'm
Well, that
sure.
means there's 970 just trying to do the right thing.
Right.
And when you meet them and when you talk to them, They are so brilliant.
Yes.
So I think we need to, on a city level, continue to accentuate that not only with our businesses, with our kids, because I think businesses and kids are also why people might want to come here.
Oh, absolutely.
So when you're ready to do the magazine for the city, I'm your guy.
All right.
Because look what it's done for the school. I
Yes.
think we literally have dropped that number that leave for the wrong reason.
Right.
Every time a kid didn't go to Torrington High School from the middle school for the wrong reason, we still pay for it, right?
Correct.
So we paid us, and if you wanted to go do this or that, I get it. Go
Yeah.
to a private
Yeah.
school. It always drove me nuts that other schools can come and recruit our children in middle school. I'm like, why? So this was my answer. Let's go
Yes,
recruit, in the other direction, because I just think that people don't know the great things that happen at THS. You came out of Torrington High School.
I did.
Carbones came out of Torrington High School. I mean, so many people that I'm associated with every day. The Carbones actually raised their family in my house 2 generations ago.
Oh, wow.
I've heard stories of Jerry and Paul Denza on my roof. I can see it. I can see it looking down over the city where it is and the rest of it.
Yeah.
And when she was running for mayor first, she knocked on, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "What are you doing here?" "We live here. We lived here,
Yeah.
And so the leaky plumbing is your fault. No. But, hometown people.
Yes.
Right? I'm always amazed that in our sports world, like Michael Fabiasci
Yeah.
stayed. I love when our kids that have gone into different places and could have gone somewhere else come back and stay right here at best. I always think that we're a self-fulfilling prophecy. We think we're lousy, probably will be. We try to be a better, community, I think,
Yeah.
than we should. You had talked a little bit about, we were hinting on like housing, and I do feel that sometimes the word affordable housing has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
What else should we name it? I can live here without getting the thrown out house. I mean, it's just because where is affordable housing?
People associate affordable housing and low income housing
Right.
as the same, and they're
Right,
not.
they're really not.
They're really not.
Yeah.
So affordable housing is based off of a market rate based off of Litchfield County, right?
Right.
And I don't want to say the wrong number, but it's not low income. It was like I want to say like the property over on Franklin Street, 1,600 maybe.
Okay.
Sounds about right. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not. Don't hold me
Yeah,
to it.
and there are a lot higher than
But
that.
it is a lot higher than low income.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes.
Well, and plus 16 to 2
Yes.
is not exactly what you'd call the
No.
easiest thing for most people to do, depending upon what they do for.
Right. It's more than some mortgage payments.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, well, it's always been funny. We've talked about, well, if we sold the house, we'd make a lot of money, but I want to live in the Honda
Right.
because where are you going?
Yeah,
Right,
exactly,
because
exactly.
you can have a little bit of this, but to
Yeah.
try to pick up something else. So, our housing situation, we have, a lot of different places where I know that there were, like on Franklin, the new apartments have gone up there. They're pretty much all full.
They're full.
Oh, they're full, okay.
Yep.
Next to Cravings, I know at one point, when that went down, there was supposed to be something in place to put something up, and that's one of the questions I'll ask you right now. Like when they get a grant to knock something down, why isn't there a plan in place to literally make them put what they promised up? They didn't have the financing for that. Is that something we should hook? In other words, you're gonna knock it down,
Yeah.
and now it looks like Beirut
Well,
with grass growing.
Sometimes the state requires that you do one step before you can do the next step. So if you're using state funds, they want this done before you can move on to the next one.
Okay,
Yeah.
but would that person, who was probably the same person that knocked it down and maybe had committed to put something up, can we hold their feet to the fire a little bit more? How does
Sure.
that work?
Yeah.
Right?
I
Because
mean-
when we're talking the initial deal,
Yeah.
right? Because it's hard, and part of what I know is very frustrating to you too is places like the Peddler,
Yes.
right? And I know the Peddler owners work Jesusly long trying to get that
Yes.
done. Is that a question next time of knowing the character of the people that we're working with? Because it
Yeah.
just doesn't seem as if, we probably thought they were good people, they could have
Yeah.
been, but
Yeah.
man,
But a lot of time you don't have control over it too, because
True.
this is private property.
say they sell, they buy it, yep,
Yes.
and they
Yeah.
go. Because if you remember back in the day with, the Peddler, I mean, downstairs, Robbie Persichino had bogeys, it was gorgeous.
Yes.
We had, my daughter Jamie had her rehearsal dinner the night before there when they got married. And Robbie is so good because remember we had the movie?
Yes.
And then we all walked
Yes,
across.
yes.
And at the Warner, the lights went off. We had a fire alarm and
Yes.
stuff like that. It was so great.
I
It was
know.
all planned. I loved it.
Yeah.
Because the Peddler reminded me a bit of The Shining.
Yes.
Right, because the hallways were a little slanted.
Yeah.
I could see the little kids
Yeah.
going down there. And, when we made that movie, it was tremendous for Torrington. you
Yeah.
know? So that obviously, if you get in, is something you're still going to be fighting. Where is it right now?
So right now there was an appeal filed by the owners of the property, and then a motion for continuance was filed. I think it was because of a religious holiday. So right now we're another month away from the next hearing.
Okay. And it has to be so frustrating for the mayor.
Incredibly frustrating.
Because-
This is something that we definitely want to try to get buttoned up before she leaves.
Yeah.
Because this
yeah.
has been her project. She's worked so hard on this.
Right. Well, because we need that downtown.
Yes.
But like the inside's been gutted, so we've lost
It's
the
a focus
history.
of downtown. Yeah.
Right. Because, you'd love to, have shows at the Warner very often, and then if folks are coming from out of town, let's go stay across the street.
Yeah.
That's where it was perfect,
Yeah.
because we don't have many places in town for people to stay. Is that also something you'd be interested in, to see if a name brand hotel or something would come in?
Yeah, well, we have somebody that's interested in the property right now, the Yankee Peddler.
Okay.
And I'm not entirely sure what his plans are, but it is going to be, like a hotel type of style.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's just so critical,
Yes.
to downtown, to,
Mhm.
to bring that part of it back. You are looking at this for probably a long-term project for you, right?
Yes.
Not just a quick come in for a little bit and then move on.
Mhm.
Talk about the the state help. I mean, you've got Joe Canino, you got Jay Case, because Jay Case represents us. It's so weird still with the districting
know.
thing, right? So we're on Heights Drive,
Mhm.
and Kimmy was on Burden, and we couldn't vote for the same people, and it was
Right.
very confusing sometimes. It was like, wait, we're all in Torrington. Our
Right.
west side is a little bit pulled away,
Right.
district-wise.
Mhm.
So one of the things the one thing that you want from your state representative is bring us money.
Yes.
How do you get that done?
I have a really good relationship with both Jay, Joe, Steve Harding.
Yep.
And I've worked with them over the years on different projects within the city too. Jay and Steve specifically, because Joe's new, but Joe's doing a great job.
Yep.
But to me, it's important to be present in Hartford too, because it's one thing to have our legislators go out there and talk for us, but they want to see us. They want to see the leaders of the city. So that's something that I will do. I will continue to go to Hartford. I've gone before, and I will go again. And I will testify, and I will talk, and I will meet. I will do whatever I need to do in order to get what we need in Torrington, and I will fight for it. It's important.
And I think that we talked about like 24/7, 365.
Yes.
'Cause that's pretty much what this is, right?
Yes.
You guys were up at like 2:00 in the morning for the fire the other morning,
Yes.
and the rest of it. I mean, God bless Brian McKenna,
Yeah.
right? Because he was actually downtown, I think.
He was at Crossroads.
And he walks out of Crossroads, and I think he thought he saw God.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden it's the red in the sky, and they're like, no, that's something burning.
And those pictures he took were incredible.
Astounding, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the pictures that you got from all the different fire departments that came, which was
Yes.
amazing also. Drones are great nowadays, people getting the great shots from up high. I mean, that response, and I think the response of our community also shows how strong we are. There was more food than anybody wanted. We had to stop people from bringing
Yeah.
things.
Friendly Hands, Cafe 38, they all came together, brought food down, drinks. When I was down there Sunday morning, Friendly Hands was still there, handing out drinks to everybody. I mean, what they do for the community is just
Right.
incredible.
I'm glad they got their new place over there
Yeah.
on Winstead Road. They were doing good work out of the little place down on the south end, and the need is great,
Yes.
right? And I think that they do an amazing job of getting that getting the food out to the people that need it, because we talk sometimes about how the people that might need a hand up, not a handout, right? Where you just might need something for a bit. You just
Right.
might be going through something.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the stigma of you had to go get food.
Right.
We need to get rid of that a little bit, right?
Yes.
Because the cost of things are certainly not
Of course.
cheap,
Yeah.
right? So if you're feeding a family of 3 or 4, you guys can certainly relate. The costs are tough. So sometimes you might just need, a little bit of help. And they have gotten such a great amount out of where they were that I think what they're going to do on Winstead. We'd love them not to exist. They would love not to exist. Fish would love not to
And
exist.
not be
But it
needed,
is what it is,
yes,
right?
yeah.
So we need to make sure, we support. Those things we need to do. We just need to be nicer to each other.
Yeah.
It can't be that hard.
No.
It's actually easier to be nice than it is to be nasty, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree.
And so I think that when it comes to all the different boards that we have, in the city, and you've been on a few of them, so you've probably been through some good ones and some not some good ones. where does that tone and stuff come from? Does that come from the top? Like, we're going to be civil, we're going to talk the issues, but we're not going to get personal?
I think we have some really strong personalities on some of these boards, and I think that's where it comes from, which is great. We've got some people that are really outspoken, and it's fantastic. They do great things in Torrington. But, it comes to a point and it comes to a time where we just have to start working together. We're not progressing if we're continuing to fight and argue with each other.
Right.
So.
And do you hear that when you are at the doors? Is that they are the same thing? They're tired of people not getting things done because of fighting?
I don't hear that too much at the doors. That's more of when I meet with the different departments and the different boards. Those are the conversations that we have. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where you're going to get them all in a room, right?
And that's what I'm going to do. And
Close
we
the
have to
doors.
do it. I got elected to the Board of Education in 2017. And one of the things I said then was we need to have better collaboration between the Board of Education, the City Council, and the Board of Finance. We only meet at budget time. So what are we doing the rest of the year, the other, 8-9 months out of the year?
Right.
We need to be able to meet more often, know where each other stands. The Board of Education needs to know what are the city's expenses. Are we going to be able to afford an $8 million increase in our budget this year if, the city has to pay for this, or, vice versa.
Right.
So to be on the same page and just to have respectful dialogue back and forth, it's so important, and it has to happen.
And it always seems as if the Board of Education and the city, it always seems to be like this. And I'm not sure if it's by design, but I would like to see that be more, like you said, you might have strong personalities, and you have a kid in school, still in high school, so you want what's best there, but you're also looking for what's best
For the city, too.
for the city.
Of course.
So that's one of the things I'm looking for,
Yeah.
is who's going to be able to be that person that can kind of come in and say, let's just knock it off, let's work together.
Right.
Because I think the average person, when there is that rare story, see, they don't see it very often anymore, but we know it's still happening.
Yes.
That it's kind of like the school's like, they're not giving us this, or the city's like, they're not giving us this. It's like the average person doesn't care.
Right.
The average person just wants to see it get done.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So, I didn't have a chance to rant last time I was on it. I'm not going to rant too much, but I had to, with all the great work we try to do for the schools. We recently had the dress code issue at a Board of Education. I'm not going to look for you to weigh in on this. This is just me. I was so angry. I was so upset. I was so disappointed because 17 days into the school year, we have Fox 61 come up to Torrington High School. And Fox 61, like any news station, is just looking for the story, right?
Right.
They're looking for, hey, what are they doing bad in Torrington?
Yeah.
We were a mile away from a $179 million gift, right? And we're up at Torringford and we're talking about a dress code. Now, to me, dress code is an internal. If somebody's not dressing correctly, we don't need to have a meeting about it. Just have the departments take care of it.
Yeah.
So that happens, and I just felt we looked so bad, considering perception is reality to me.
Right.
And we don't get many news stories anymore, right? So
Right.
when we get it, and then NBC Connecticut came up the following week, at least we had them at the high school. I was like, okay, at least they're here.
Yeah.
They were on, the stairs that they were on, those are actually called Mario stairs.
Oh,
Because
cool.
when the building was first being built,
Yeah.
they would use old rickety wooden things
Yeah.
that Mario used to try to walk up.
Yeah.
So they were nicknamed, so I'm, hey, the lady's on Mario's stairs. I hope we showed her around the school,
Yeah.
and I hope they come back.
Yes.
Because it is the same thing with the statewide news. Is if there's bad news in Torrington or any other community, we're
Right.
there, right?
Right.
Taking a tour of the school and of the sports facilities and the rest of it,
Yeah.
I still think that sells,
Right.
right? Because look at this. Look at what we have for our students. Now, has your daughter complained that sometimes it's too cold in school?
No.
Okay. Well, it's funny because in June when we had our banquet, Mr. Gaffney, it's kind of cold. I'm like, did you ever say that in the old school? Because we actually now have air conditioning
Yeah, exactly.
that works,
Yes.
and the rest of it. And talk about the new school. What do you think that new school, the two new schools and the auditorium, bring to your city?
Oh, it's huge. It's you drive on Route 8 and you can see it. It's absolutely beautiful. And the kids love it. My son, who just graduated from there, he only got to spend a few months there, but
Right.
It's totally different atmosphere than the old school.
Yeah.
And I feel like it can bring families here. We have a beautiful complex now with fields coming in too. And a lot of opportunities for students, different programs that we weren't able to offer before, but now we have the facility to do it. So.
On the right side, next to the Connie Donahue, and I've only been able to peek in the Connie once, and it's driving me nuts, right? So the gymnasium, which I was glad we kept at the original size, because if we had gone new, it would have been tiny.
Right.
So keeping it the same size. So I walked in one time, and it is so white that the other gym was like 50 years old, so it was yellow, right? The lights were bad.
Yep.
So you walk in, and I think that what we should do is the picture of Connie now needs to have hands out like this, like it was manna from heaven, because it is so white. It's like, oh my God, we're gonna have to put shades on to go in there. The floor was right before after I was there, they put the floor in. Mike McKenna showed me a picture the other day of the floor being painted and the rest of it. So it'll be up in time for for basketball. And I said, like, keeping that, you spend many a day in that gym during school. So I mean, when you have a new facility, like that, I think it's amazing, and I think that needs to be a centerpiece for Torrington, because you're right. Yeah. If a family moves here, what's the first thing they look for? How's the school system?
Of course.
Right. So we've got the 3 grammar schools now that are 2nd and 3rd grade, and then 4, 5, and 6 up at the intermediate school, and then 7, 8, and high school, right together. Right. And you probably heard those same things we were talking about before, is that, middle school and high school being on the same campus is not new. Gilbert does it. Our granddaughter graduated from there. Northwestern, they do it.
Yes.
But for us in the beginning, people were like, no, you can't put those middle.
Right.
Molly, who's scarier, a high schooler or a middle schooler? We can go on record, it's probably a middle schooler at some point, right?
I can attest to that. I have 3 kids. It's definitely
we
middle
can too,
school.
right? 8th graders, because they're just kind of coming into their own and the rest of it,
Yeah.
Rusty Elliott's always going after the 9th graders. They just came in. So maybe now, because it's right there, they'll be more familiar. They're taking certain music classes together. They are in the same area.
Yep.
They ride on the same school bus. We'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay. Sometimes I think maybe we're our own worst enemies.
Yes.
That we can't do this. Well, no,
Yeah.
come on. We should put seatbelts on the buses before we worry about that, right, Molly?
Right.
All these years we get a ticket if we don't. Hey, don't go there, right? It's crazy. So we are here, Litchfield County Sports, talking to Molly Spino, who is the Republican candidate for Mayor of Torrington, and I thank you very much for educating me and everybody else, because we have a big decision to make. We haven't elected a new mayor in 12 years. You've probably learned a lot from Eleanor. What what can you speak of what you have taken from Eleanor?
Well, I have learned a lot from her, but I do want to make it a point to say that I am my own person and I have my own ideas too. I'm a different generation. I have plans for Torrington that may be different than how Eleanor saw things. And it's important to me that we talk to the people of Torrington too and see what is it that Torrington residents want, not just what we as a city and leaders want. What do the people want? And that's what's important to me. And having an administration that's open and receptive to the people of Torrington is something that I think is going to be a little bit new. I've said since day one I'll have an open door policy too. And I really mean that my door will always be open. So I want to hear from the people. I want to know, what do the residents of Torrington want? What do they think is going to bring families here and keep families here too?
Anything surprising you that you're hearing so far?
Like what? Like
when you're at the door, anything surprising you, like, wow, I hadn't thought of that. I mean, people usually have good ideas. They probably sometimes just have to be asked, right?
One of the big things I'm hearing, when we talk about businesses is Costco.
And okay, tell me the deal. My daughter Kimberly, she would always go to Costco.
Yeah.
We got a BJ's. Are the prices that different?
It's not the prices. I think it's the selection.
Oh, okay.
Don't get me wrong. I love Costco too, but
could we support both?
Oh, I think so.
Maybe
Absolutely.
a downtown or an uptown
I think we
kind of
can.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because that's definitely one of the, or here, or Trader Joe's or something like that, because that's the way that we reverse that trend with the mill rate, right? As far as the businesses
we
paying.
have to bring in more businesses, absolutely.
Right, in order for them to be able, because I think years and years and years past, you'd hear about, well, they came in but they didn't have to pay taxes for 10 years. I don't want to hear that.
Right.
I didn't come in and not have to pay taxes for 10 years. So if we're trying to bring a business in, we would just hope that the deal is not so sweet that the average person will be like,
and I don't think we need to make those deals so sweet anymore now that we've lowered our mill rate.
Right. Right. And I think that really is the trick, is selling the vision of Torrington.
Of course.
Is so important.
Yeah,
right?
and like I said, the people I've talked to, the investors I've talked to, they drive into Torrington and they're like, this is a beautiful city. They love everything about it.
And we have a lot of people moving in even from like the southern part of the state or from New York, where in some cases our mill rate might not seem that outrageous.
No.
Which is weird to us.
Some of the doors I've knocked were people that recently moved to Torrington. I met a woman last weekend or 2 weeks ago from Waterbury. And I said, you know, she was on her way to church, so I didn't get to talk to her too long, but I said, you know, what made you move to Torrington? She's like, it's a beautiful city. It's quiet. It's country.
Yes, yeah, because we're a city, right?
Right,
In parentheses
right.
because of the numbers, but
Yeah.
we got some farms around
Yeah.
here. We're a little country. We know
Yeah.
how to take care of business with that. So one of the things, because I have a meeting tomorrow with a young man that wants to try to bring collegiate baseball back to Torrington at Fusion Park. Back when the Twisters were first here forever ago, one of the sports writers, one of the guys that works with you now, Pat Tisha, he left to register, so they offered it to me as a beat writer. At the time I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to Frito-Lay, so I'm not sure how insane I was, but it was cool because Steven Strasburg was here,
Yeah.
right? So the first year I did it was, and when you're a reporter, doing a beat is where it's up, because then you can get used to everything every day. It's like how when I went to the theater yesterday. Well, now I'm going to see how they end when they're done,
Yep.
right? So they are interested in bringing an NECBL team back to Torrington. Now, people that are watching that have been in bad shape, please don't throw things at your television right now. It's all good. We're just having a conversation. This probably would take a few years, right? Fusion Park, back when the Twisters were here, you know, and we had like Team USA, Team China, Team Japan come in. They were events,
Yeah.
right? And you have to do it the right way. And you and I had talked when we were at the school, in which I don't think we can really come in and say, what can you do for us? What would you like to see a new collegiate team do in order to prove itself? You like the idea, first
I
of all?
love the idea. I love anything that gives people something to do in Torrington. We need more things to do. You know, recently I was down there for the softball game for the fire department and police department, and it was a good turnout. It was great, but it's such a fun night. You know,
Right.
it's a beautiful field. It was a beautiful night, and getting people to come out and just hang out and talk and have some snacks and watch a game. You know, we need something like that.
Right. Now, from a city standpoint, what I always found that was not done correctly in a lot of cases was sometimes the bigger collegiate teams would act as if they own the field. They don't own the field. They're a visitor. Right? So that's what we tell this kid. You don't come in and go to the mayor's office and say, hi, what can you do for me? You know, it's going to be,
Right.
what can I do for you?
Right.
When it comes to teams like that goes through Park and Rec, or does it go through
I would
Fusion
say Park and Rec.
Park and
Yes.
Rec
Yeah.
to approve it?
Of course.
Right. Now, is there a cost to a team to come to Torrington? In other words, to play here?
Great question. And
I know how much it costs to do it from their standpoint. I don't know if we charge or not.
I know, I can't say right now. I do know, like, when our oldest son played baseball in Torrington, there was a cost for his team to use the field, mostly for the maintenance, for the
Yep.
lining of the field. So what it is now, I'm not quite sure, but
Okay.
yeah.
So I think one of the things we do need to look at is figuring out a way to make it so that not every team has to pay to play on the town field. So the Fusions family left Fusions Park to Torrington as a gift for the entire community. I mean, right now we even charge the high school to play at Fusions Park. It's our home field.
Right.
So I think that's one of the things that I'll work with whoever it is to try to figure out how we do this differently, because we're losing teams playing here. Like the Tri-State no longer plays. They're 2 out of 3 here. They play 1 here and 2 in Waterbury, so we lose the championship game
Right.
because of the cost. So I want us to try to figure out, I know we need to maintain the field. I know we need to do all those things. But again, if we get more people in the seats, if we open up that concession stand, Lord, that's going to have to be cleaned out a lot, 'cause it's been a lot of years that
Yeah.
that door's been closed. And make it so that it is affordable fun. You're not wrong. When we used to have, when there was games down there, I mean, that place was just packed. 99 benefited.
Yeah.
I remember Cumberland Farms, when I used to work for Frito-Lay, sales were up 20%
Yeah.
when there were games. All the kids go, all the players go,
Yeah.
right? So everybody's just walking over there. So it's very good for our community. Other thing we need to do is we need to take care of host families. Because if this does happen, whoever ends up being being the mayor, this probably wouldn't be till like 27, because there's a lot of legwork that has to be
course.
worked out.
Yep.
I won't do anything with it unless I feel it's going to be done the right way.
Right.
Because I won't put my name behind it if it's going to be same old, same old.
Right.
I won't be coming to you or coming to Stephen and asking for money. It's going to be, this is what we're going to do,
Yes.
right? And then
Yeah.
take it from there. Greg Hunt, who was the manager of the Twisters and great coach out of Wamogo and now out of Lakeview, he did it for a long time, and he's with the Bristol Blues. So they know how to do it.
Right.
They do fireworks every Friday night, pack the place.
Yeah.
Well, maybe outside that left field fence now where there isn't anything, maybe we could figure out how to do it. I just don't think in the past there was any trust,
Right.
right, that anybody would do it correctly, right?
Right.
We don't want fireworks flying in the stands, I get it, but it can be done and done correctly, because if you make something an event,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, then I think it will work well, because that field will also, you know, be in much better shape if there's more people playing on it.
Right.
So,
Right.
we are talking politics here on the Litchfield County. We're not really talking politics. We're talking to Molly, okay? And I was talking to Steve. It's just what we do, right? We have conversations, because people were like, what kind of serious questions are you going to ask? I said, have you ever known a Gaffney to ask a serious question? It's been some somewhat serious question, but this is not 60 minutes.
Yeah.
This is honesty, right? This is who is going to lead the city that I love. We've been here since 91, so I think we're almost Torrington years. We're getting there,
Yep,
right? We're
yep.
getting our stripes. And I don't think there's many people that are more invested in what goes right in this city and have watched some of the, you know, different things, you know, happening. Some out of our control, and some of them that need such a pinnacle moment for you. It's such a legacy defining, right? Can you imagine? You know, maybe 10, 12 years from now or something like that, you can look at it and say, this is what I did, right? Do you think about those things?
Yeah, a little bit, but I'm more focused on right now. There's so much that we need to do in Torrington, and I have so many ideas. I just need to get in there and get them done.
How do we get everybody out to vote? Because, you know, the numbers are not that good.
I know the turnout is never good, especially when it's not a presidential election.
Right.
So, it's one of the things when we've been going to doors, just like, hey, it's great that we have this conversation. It's great that you support me. You got to get out there and vote. And reminding people that we have early voting that starts on the 20th of October.
Okay.
And that goes for 2 weeks, and then election day on November 4th. So just constantly reminding, pushing it out there. You know, I'm sure mailers will start going out too from the city and you know, the different town committees. And
Do we do anything day of to help people?
I know the Republican Town Committee does. We offer rides to people if they need rides.
Okay.
And, we have a couple dedicated members that have been doing it for years and driving around and picking people up if they need to get there.
What's a good number for you as far as turnout? 70%?
Oh, that would be incredible.
Yeah, we set some records. Where are we usually at? Like 48, 50?
We're
something
pretty
like
low,
that.
yeah.
And I think that it's one of those interesting things that I always say, if you didn't vote, stop talking.
Right.
Because
Yes.
we have a responsibility, we have a job,
Right.
It's not the hardest job. You got to go in, you got to fill a little cup. It's not that hard, right?
Right.
You can see who's on the ballot online,
Mhm.
so you already know who you're, you know, looking at. And if you don't know about that person, and that's the other part of it. With the lack of information, how do people find out about who's along your line, party-wise?
The social media is the big one.
Do you guys actually have a website for you?
I have my own website, and our town committee has a website as well.
Okay, so you could find out a little bit about, are people able to find out about views on there and the rest of it, or how's that work?
Sure. So we're getting our candidate bios up on the Republican Town Committee page, and a lot of my information is up on my website as well. And then I have my email address up there. That people are welcome to contact me with any specific questions, thoughts, ideas that they have.
Okay, and you know, I just, like I said, I just hope that people get involved. A lot of times we'll watch, well, you've sit through many city council members meetings where you're like, there are chairs out there, there could be people in them, right? I mean, how do I get people more involved in the process?
I think open communication is key, and that's something too that I'm going to bring to the table, is getting the information out there faster, more often to the public. I want people to be informed. I want people to come to the meetings, because, you know, it's one thing for us to talk at these council meetings and nobody really knows what we're talking about and what's going on.
Right.
You know, they're not going online and reading the minutes. So come to these meetings, just listen, pay attention, figure out what's going on in Torrington. You know, you'll get your updates on what's going on with the Yankee Peddler. Why is Midgeon Ave paved the way it is? You know, those answers are all there in those meetings.
Right, and if you don't, you just complain. Right, another bump in the road. Now, we've done an extensive amount of road repair, and
Yeah.
it it takes time.
Yeah, it does.
But again, when it's done, it's going to be done.
Right.
Right? I mean, we're in New England, so, the next frost heave is not that far
Right.
away.
Asphalt plants close, so there's only, so much time we have to get the work done.
Right. And we have, same thing with the, with the school to be able to get done things before November.
Yep.
With the school, we got lucky because we had 2 mellow winters. That's not going to last,
Yeah,
right?
no.
So once everything got buttoned up, we were in, good shape. But I find it funny sometimes that people are, we don't get involved as much as we should.
Yeah.
Back when we were first doing the Robert H. Frost over again, was the first year I retired from Frito and I destroyed my knee. Pulled the quad tendon almost completely away from my knee walking my daughter's dog. I did not let go of the dog. Dedication, Grandpa did good.
Yep.
And I remember going out on crutches with Ed and Mario, Ed Aram and Mario Longambuco, when we redid the Robert H. Frost and just limping across the field and the piles. Because you remember back, in the day and when Nick played football, we used to all get shorter as we ran down that field because gravity was working, right?
Yeah.
You're like, well, that kid was
He
tall when he
shakes
was
his
over
head.
here,
Remembers.
And then all of a sudden, so when we did that over again, I just went, right? I didn't say anything. I didn't write anything awful about it. I just watched the process. I always remember, Mario taking a glass of water and pouring it down to where there would have been a track surface at some point, and he wasn't happy with the angle because he was worried the water was going to go underneath and crack.
Yeah.
That's kind of dedication these guys have. I'm looking at it like, Mario, why are you watering the dirt, right? But it was because they were looking at it, and look at that Robert H. Frost now. I
Yeah.
mean, we're 11 years old, and it looks brand new.
Yeah.
Many fields have been replaced around the state because we did 2 things good. We put maintenance in the budget.
Yes.
Right, and the track's been redone twice,
Mhm.
right? So it's no longer a pothole,
Mhm.
issue or anything like that. So I think the same thing happens with our roads. If we do it right the first time, which seems as if what is happening, what city doesn't complain about their roads? I mean,
And there's so much that goes into doing roads too that you have to do the work underneath the road first. We've
Right.
got sewer, we've got water, we've got gas, we've got fiber internet. So all of those things have to be replaced, and they all get replaced at different times. So when people ask, well, why was Midgeon Ave ripped up 4 times? Well, the sewer company came.
Right.
That's in one location. The gas company came. That's another location. So all that has to be done before we can resurface or repave.
Right. Oh, you just brought up a sore subject on Heights Drive, internet, right?
Yeah.
So up in our neighborhood on Heights Drive, everybody from, thank you, Doug, 5-minute warning, ladies and gentlemen. Curtain lights, the lights will go on and off like they would in the theater, right?
Okay.
So they went up and fiber optics went in for Frontier and everybody else. And they're supposed to be maybe 5 to 8 feet on your lawn that they can destroy. And they did a very good job.
Yeah.
They destroyed all ours. But then the next guy would come up,
Mhm.
right? We became the home of the generator this winter. Because somebody would dig into somebody else's. I worked with Jay Case on this because I
Yeah.
was so outraged because in the dead of winter, somebody hits something and it powers up. We're in a Heights Drive, we have underground power. One of the things we loved about living there, we never lose power unless the whole city goes.
Yeah.
But then they got this huge generator outside my house, and Jay was saying they are very frustrated in Hartford with utility companies because they just don't respond.
Right.
These big cable companies. So if you get a call from me, you know what we're talking
All right.
about. Right now, we're okay. I do have a little area on my yard that I call my Manhattan skyline now, because now I have 4 different boxes that are in there, but it's okay. I'm from New York, so it reminds me.
Okay.
So we've got like 3 or 4 minutes, and I want to give you, the last couple of words on, talk to the people about why they should support you.
Well, I have the experience, and I think that's really important too. I've been able to prove myself throughout the past decade on these different boards, working together, getting things accomplished for the city. And I love Torrington. I'm not in this for any other reason than I want to help Torrington. If I win, I'm excited. I cannot wait. I'm ready day one to get in there and start working. And if I don't, then, I have my amazing family and I have an amazing job to go back to too. But, I want to do something for Torrington. I want to give back. I've served my community. I was served in the Marine Corps.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Thank you. So it's important to me and the person I am and my personality and my qualities. I want to give back. And that's why I've been so involved over the years. And, when I think about stepping away, maybe it's too much. And I'm like, I can't. It's not about me. It's about the city. So so I keep going back, and I want to do more, and I want to do more. You know, I get involved in different groups. I'm a co-operator at the Torrington Library. I'm a member of Preservation Torrington. I'm a member of Torrington Rotary, Torrington Winston Rotary Club. I got to make sure I say both. Torrington
There you go.
Winston.
There you go.
So I mean, I just like being involved. I like being busy and occupied, and you know, feeling like I got something accomplished. You know?
And this probably has to be a very deep-seated mission.
Yes, it
right?
is.
Because it has to be all encompassing for how do we make a difference, you know, in this city. So,
Yeah.
I wish you luck. You know,
Thank
it's
you.
You got how many days left?
33.
Woo, 33.
Who's counting?
Yeah, right. The hours are going.
Yeah.
There is a debate coming up. Tell folks when that's going to be. The League of Women
Yes,
Voters.
So October 21st at the intermediate school. I don't have a start time yet, but League of Women Voters will get that information out shortly.
And what I will encourage everyone to do at any of these debates, let's stay quiet and listen.
Yes.
I've heard many debates in which I don't want to hear the audience.
Right.
This is not a cheering section. This is people listening to each candidate and then go do your thing.
Of course.
So we'll be good to that League of Women Voters moderator who at some point just kind of like, wait, stop doing this, you know.
Yeah.
So we got to act civil in all cases. Again, one of you is going to lose and one of you is going to
Of course.
win. It's just how it is. It's the
Yeah.
nature of it. But I think both of you would still end up being folks that want to take care of, you know, this community. The bigger picture is, you know, what ends up happening. So, well, I want to thank you for coming in. Nick, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Doug, giving me the old wrap up with the 1 minute. This is when we sing. I'm just not sure what we're singing. But, you know, it's, I appreciate you coming in and giving the information because information is power.
Yes.
Right? So if people I want people to be able to make an informed decision. They might like some of the things you're saying and they're not like, whatever. But at least they know.
Yes.
As opposed to just not voting.
Right.
And I will encourage everybody, get out there and vote. And registering to vote is not that hard either. So, you know, we have same-day voting, same-day registration also, right?
Yes.
So we can make sure we get that done. So no excuses, everybody. I want my 70%. That's my number. Molly's going to be thrilled if we get 70%.
I'll text you that night. I'll let you know.
Right, you know, and I want to be in on that because when we won the vote for the school, it was like we like to win by 1, and we won like 65-35.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a rout. So
Yeah.
we'll be back on the air with a little sports in a little bit as Dougie gives me the big wrap up. And thank you, everybody. This is always a pleasure coming on and talking to people about what goes on in our community. I love Torrington just like Molly does, and I want the best for, you know, what's happening. So always good to see you.
Anytime.
All right. We will talk soon.
Are your mics off? Stay put. I just gotta do the copyright. You can talk to each other, no one can hear you, although I can't read lips, but somebody might be able to.